Hey again, everyone. Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, with our SEC Power Rankings going into Week 7. All right. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media, and subscribe. Best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football each and every day. That's our aim. That's our goal. That's our mission. Join us for our call-in shows. And, of course, Saturday night is unlike any other. Call-in shows every Saturday night, late night after the primetime games. Okay. We've released Power Rankings, and many of you have complained. So I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment, actually a fairly big adjustment here to a certain extent. So like my top 25, everybody all together, that actually makes sense. I've approached Power Rankings in a similar fashion, based on resume, performance, results, not based on my own personal opinion of best team in the country or best team in that particular conference, 1 through 14. Okay. Some people have told me in the past a number of times, commented, Mark, would you please just tell us who you think the best teams are? Forget, you don't have to justify the records or the results or anything. Just tell us who you believe are the best teams, 1 through whatever, 25, 1 through 14 in the Big Ten, whatever. And so I did that one time, and people responded rather, even though there was some illogic to it, for me just to say, I just flat out think this team is better than that team. They haven't proven it yet. People responded well to that. All right. I released my Big Ten Power Rankings a couple days ago, and people were all upset because, again, they didn't understand the process. And Power Rankings, I don't think there's a textbook Webster's Dictionary definition to Power Rankings. Maybe I've missed this, but I think it's pretty much up to whatever interpretation, whatever approach you would like to take. But I've missed out on this. There must be a textbook definition there. So people are upset when I ranked Ohio State number 5 in the Big Ten. But I have clearly stated I still believe, despite not having the resume to date to back it up, that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. Iowa has the best resume. And again, I ranked Ohio State based on resume, results, and performance, number 5 in the Big Ten. Okay, people didn't like that. That's fine. We may revise our power rankings and just go with, hey, this is who I say are the best, 1 through 14. And I pinned a comment at the top of the Big Ten rankings video, if you want to check it out, where I said, okay, you've asked for it. Here's 1 through 14. All right, I'm going to take a similar approach here with the SEC. This is just simply who I believe are the 1 through 14 teams in the SEC, regardless of record, anything else. Just this is how I see these teams in terms of best to worst. Let's start with the worst team in the SEC, number 14. You can take the resume or you can take just personal opinion. It's the same. Vandy's the worst. They are bottom 10 to 15 in the country in points per game given up and yards per game given up. They barely squeaked by. Last-second field goal at home against UConn, a team that had lost to Fresno State and Purdue 94-0. Vandy has played 2 games in the SEC, and they've lost to Georgia and Florida 104-0. Okay, Vandy's number 14. They've got South Carolina coming up this weekend. At number 13, Missouri. This is a disappointment. Eli Drinkwitz in his first season at 5-5. A lot of people like him. He's impressive to listen to. But he forgot the defense this year. They gave up 62 to Tennessee a couple weeks ago. Even the North Texas performance was not great. Now 3-3, but 0-2 in the SEC. They've got Texas A&M coming up. They are next to last in the nation in total defense, giving up 500 yards per game, and they are bottom 10 in points given up. All right, at number 12, we got South Carolina. Shane Beamer trying to win a game in the SEC. Should be able to get it done against Vandy this week. He's perfect outside the SEC. 3-0. 0-3 in the SEC. Gave up 28 points in the first quarter this past weekend against Tennessee and getting blown out by the Vols. We got South Carolina at number 12. Number 11, big surprise here. Not necessarily a big surprise based on what they've done or failed to do this season, but big surprise based on the talent on the roster. LSU. I looked at this and thought, okay, again, we're just going by who I think are the best teams 1 through 14. LSU's got to be higher than 11. I know their resume's number 11, and I thought, you know what? They are just not playing like it. Now they are missing 2 tremendous secondary players, of course, in Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks. LSU 3-3, 1-2 in the SEC. And wow, they were outrushed by Kentucky 330-73. Keishon Butte's out for the season as well. LSU, not good. They've got Florida coming up. At number 10, an improved Tennessee team under Josh Heupel really laid the yardage and the points on South Carolina and Mizzou the last 2 weeks. Tyon Evans, 156 and 119 yards the last 2 weeks with 4 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker, 76%, 6 touchdowns, and no picks against the Gamecocks and the Mizzou Tigers. Tennessee at number 10, they've got Ole Miss. That should be a really good ball game coming up this weekend. At number 9, we've got Auburn. They were outrushed, as everybody is, against Georgia, 201-46. So Tank Bigsby would like to break out this week. On the road at Arkansas, interesting game that obviously could shake this up. Auburn at 4-2 overall. Poor performance against Georgia State. Should have lost that game. I could point to a number of plays that would have lost the game for Auburn, but on the flip side, played extremely well at Penn State, a top 5 to 10 team in the nation. Auburn at 9. Florida's at number 8. 4-2, 2-2 in the SEC. They've got LSU coming up this weekend on the road, of course. They've got this quarterback situation between Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson. Brenton Cox has had a really good season with 6 sacks, and also you got Zachary Carter with 5.5. Of course, they pushed Bama to the brink. If they would have just kicked an extra point, then they could have just kicked an extra point, gone to overtime. But then they followed that up with losses, of course, against Kentucky, and now they lose the next game as well. So Florida goes down to 4-2, 2-2 with the 2 losses again. Kentucky and Alabama, I should say, for the Gators. At number 7, Texas A&M. So I was looking to move them up, and I was thinking, okay, doesn't make sense. I believe that teams number 3 through 9 are razor close. This is going to be all jumbled up and changed. Texas A&M at 7. We know what they did over the weekend. It was phenomenal. Bama comes in. Is this going to be the Texas A&M turnaround, or was just that a special night? Zach Calzada, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. The defense played well. They go to Mizzou. They should be able to take care of business, even if they kind of fall asleep early in that one against the Tigers. At number 6, Mississippi State, of course. Bye week going now into the Alabama game. Their last effort was going to Kyle Field and doing something that Bama did not or could not do. That's beat Texas A&M 26-22 in that game. Will Rogers playing out of his mind, 14 TDs, 2 picks, asked to throw close to 70 passes per game the last 3 times out. And Makai Polk, one of his favorite targets with 46 receptions. And again, they defeated Texas A&M. At number 5, we've got Arkansas. Arkansas had a dominant performance against Texas, dominant performance against Texas A&M. They were dominated, just get in line, by Georgia. And then they're coming off this game in which they went to Oxford, played Ole Miss, lost 52-51 on a failed 2-point conversion at the gun. So how do you evaluate that? It was played on the road. They lost by 1 at the gun. But it's a loss for Arkansas. KJ Jefferson passed for 326, rushed for 85 with 6 total touchdowns in that game. The rush defense, though, was bad for Arkansas against Ole Miss, giving up 6.6 yards per carry, 324 yards. All right, now they got to deal with Tank Bigsby. All right, at number 4, we've got those Ole Miss Rebels, 52-51 winners against Arkansas. Matt Corral still has yet to throw an interception after being plagued by picks last year, 14 in 2020, none this year against 12 touchdowns. Beat Arkansas 52-51. Go to Tennessee, interesting matchup, Vols and Rebs. At number 3, they're the undefeated team, but we still have them at 3. Can't wait to see them play in Athens. The Kentucky Wildcats coming off 2 enormous wins against Florida, a game that they were statistically outplayed, but won 20-13 based on special teams and defense, of course. And then this past week, they were clearly the better team against LSU, 42-21. They go to number 1 Georgia this week. Will Levis, maybe he's coming into his own. He's going to have to be razor sharp against the Dogs. 14 of 17, 3 touchdowns against LSU. But they gave up 150 yards rushing to Tyrion Davis-Price and LSU, and we know what Georgia does on the ground. Kentucky, number 3. Alabama, despite the loss, again, ranking the teams that I believe are best to worst. Alabama at number 2. Disappointing effort against Texas A&M after a dominant performance against Ole Miss. That was supposed to be the team that could trip them up. But they win that, lose on the last-second field goal. Alabama at 5-1, showing some kink in the armor. Of course, some chinks in the armor. Bryce Young has been phenomenal, but making some mistakes. Brian Robinson having to carry the ball a la Derrick Henry in 2015. All right, number 1 team in the SEC and the nation, Georgia. Wow. Number 1 in the country in defense, total defense, scoring defense, rushing defense. Number 2 behind Wisconsin. Red zone defense has been amazing. Check out the Auburn game. They gave up 46 yards rushing to Auburn, 28 to Tank Bigsby. He can play. They are facing Chris Rodriguez in the Kentucky offensive line this week. 9.2 yards per carry against LSU, but this is Georgia, and they have been serious. Stetson Bennett, 14 of 21 for 231, 2 touchdowns, no picks. All right, top to bottom in the SEC. My power rankings based on who I believe is best, despite record or anything else. Georgia 1, Alabama number 2, Kentucky 3, number 4, Ole Miss, Arkansas at 5, Mississippi State at 6, Texas A&M 7, Gators at 8, Tigers of Auburn at 9, and again, 3 through 9, close. Tennessee at 10, LSU 11, South Carolina at number 12, at number 13 is Missouri, and the worst team, those poor Commodores of Vanderbilt. Leave your power rankings down below. Ask me anything. Tell me anything you'd like in the comment section below, right here on the Voice of College Football.